Hello everyone. In our Anatomy on Blackboard series, we had seen regarding the whole GIT. In that, then and there, we had read something related to the histology part of GIT, that is regarding the different layers of GIT. So I thought of making a separate video so that it will be easy for you to understand how the histology of intestine is made of. Walls of GIT. There are totally 4 layers in case of GIT. This is the innermost layer and this mucosa, submucosal layer, then comes the muscular layer, then comes our outermost layer, that is serosa or serous membrane. So now we are going to discuss regarding the mucosa or mucus membrane. So this is how the mucous membrane of the intestinal wall looks like. So in this mucous membrane, we have 3 linings. One is epithelial lining. Epithelial lining, we have 2 different types of epithelium. One is stratified squamous epithelium and another one is columnar epithelium. And this stratified squamous epithelium we can see in the inner surface of mouth, tongue, pharynx and esophagus. Then comes the columnar epithelium, and this columnar epithelium we can see in case of stomach, small intestine and large intestine. So this is regarding the epithelial lining. Then in case of mucosa we are having the second lining, that is lamina propria. So now this lamina propria is completely made of connective tissues. So the connective tissues were fibroblasts, macrophages, lymphocytes and eosinophils. And then comes the third lining of mucous membrane, that is Muscularis Mucosa. So this Muscularis Mucosa is very thin and it is made of smooth muscle. And it is absent in mouth and pharynx. So I am just repeating it again. So we all know that the innermost layer is the mucosal layer or mucous membrane, and in case of mucous membrane we are having 3 different lining. First one is epithelial lining, and this epithelial lining has 2 different types of cells. One is stratified squamous epithelium and columnar epithelium, and this stratified squamous epithelium we can see in mouth, tongue, pharynx and esophagus, and this columnar epithelium we can see in stomach, small intestine and large intestine. And then comes the second layer, that is lamina propria, and it is made of connective tissues, and the connective tissues were fibroblasts, macrophages, lymphocytes and eosinophils. Then regarding the third lining of mucous membrane, that is Muscularis mucosa, it is very thin and it is made up of smooth muscle and it is not seen in mouth and pharynx. So now we are going to discuss regarding our second layer, that is submucosal layer. And this submucosal layer is absent in mouth and pharynx. So already we had seen that Muscularis mucosa is also absent in mouth and pharynx, and this submucosal is also absent there. And adding to that, it contains loose collagen fibers, elastic fibers, reticular fibers and connective tissues. In this membrane, we will be having blood vessels, lymphatics. Adding to that, we are having one more interesting and important feature, that this membrane will be having one nerve plexus, which is called as Meissner's plexus, which is one of the important nerve plexus which is contributing for the enteric nervous system or intrinsic nervous system of GIT. So this is more and more important. So in next video, we will be seeing regarding this local nerve plexus or intrinsic nerve plexus, Meissner's plexus, which is also called as submucosal nerve plexus. So I'm just repeating it. Now we are talking regarding the submucosal layer, and it is absent in case of mouth and pharynx, and it is made of loose collagen fibers, elastic fibers, reticular fibers, and connective tissues. And this fiber is having blood vessels, lymphatics, and nerve plexus, which is none other than Meissner's plexus, and it forms the part of enteric nervous system or intrinsic nervous system of GIT. So now we are going to discuss regarding the third layer, that is muscular layer. And this muscular layer is made of skeletal muscle and smooth muscle based on the requirement. And this skeletal muscle fibers we can see in lips, cheeks, and pharynx. And this smooth muscle we can see mainly in stomach and intestine. So there is one special advantage that we can see both this skeletal and smooth muscle in esophagus. So you can remember easily that in case of muscular layer, we are having two different muscles, that is skeletal and smooth muscle. Skeletal muscle we can see in areas of lip, cheek, and pharynx, and in case of smooth muscle we can see in stomach and intestine. And this both the combination of skeletal and smooth muscle we can see in case of esophagus. So now we are going to talk regarding the smooth muscles of stomach and intestine in particular. So in case of stomach, we are having three muscular layers. One is inner oblique, then middle circular, and another one outer longitudinal. Oblique fibers will be there like this. Then comes the second layer where we can see circular muscle fibers like this. Then the next layer, which is very longitudinal muscle fibers, will be there, and this will go like this. So this is how the muscular layer of stomach looks like. Now let's see what is the difference between the muscular layer of stomach and intestine. So in case of intestine, we will be having only two muscular layer. So they are inner circular and outer longitudinal. So in case of intestine, it looks like this, like inner circular layer will be there, followed by outer longitudinal layer will be like this. Fibers will be in longitudinal way. So here we are going to see one of the important thing, as we had seen above in submucosal area. Here in case of muscular layer, we are having one nerve plexus, that is none other than Auerbach's nerve plexus or myenteric plexus. So myenteric is nothing but myo is muscular. So that nerve plexus which is contributing majorly for the intrinsic nervous system of GIT, which is Auerbach's plexus or myenteric nerve plexus. As I had already told, the intrinsic nervous system or enteric nervous system is formed by Meissner's nerve plexus, which is present in the submucosal layer, and Auerbach's plexus, which is present in the muscular layer, and this forms the major thing. In case of anal sphincter, internal anal sphincter is made of smooth muscle, and the external anal sphincter is made of skeletal muscle. So now we are going to discuss regarding the outermost layer, that is serosa or fibrous layer. So this serosa is made of connective tissue and mesoepithelial cells, and this serous layer we can see in stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. And this fibrous layer, they are made of connective tissue and They are seen in pharynx and esophagus. So regarding the serosa or fibrous layer, which is the outermost one, and this serosa layer is made of connective tissue and mesoepithelial cells, which is seen in the stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. And this fibrous layer is made of connective tissue, and we can see that in pharynx and esophagus. So now let's have some quick recap. So innermost layer is the mucosal layer, and next to it is submucosal, and next to it is muscular, and the outermost layer is serosa or fibrous layer. And this mucosa is made of three different lining, that is epithelial lining, lamina propria, and muscularis mucosa. And this epithelial lining have two different epithelium, and stratified squamous epithelium we can see in mouth, tongue, pharynx, and esophagus, mainly upper GI. We can remember like that, but and the second one is columnar epithelium. We can see in stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. And this lamina propria is made of connective tissue, and the connective tissue is fibroblasts, macrophages, lymphocytes, and eosinophils. And this muscularis mucosa is a thin layer, and it is made of smooth muscle, and it is absent in mouth and pharynx. Then our submucosal layer. It is absent in mouth and pharynx, and here it is made of loose collagen fibers, elastic fibers, reticular fibers, and connective tissues. And here we can see important nerve plexus, which is contributing for the intrinsic nervous system of GIT, that is Meissner's plexus or submucosal nerve plexus. Now, regarding the muscular layer, it has two different types of muscle, that is skeletal and smooth muscle. Skeletal muscle we can see in lips, cheek, and pharynx, and smooth muscle we can see in stomach and intestine. And both the combination of skeletal and smooth muscle we can see in esophagus, which is very lucky to have both the combination. And now regarding the stomach and intestine, in case of stomach, we are having three different layers. That is inner oblique, middle circular, and outer longitudinal. And in case of intestine, we are having inner circular and outer longitudinal. And here we are having one special nerve plexus, that is called Auerbach's plexus or myenteric plexus. So our enteric nervous system is having two different types of nerve plexus, that is Meissner's and Auerbach's. Meissner's is present in the submucosal layer, and Auerbach is present in the myenteric layer. And regarding the anal sphincter, internal anal sphincter is formed with the help of smooth muscle, and external with the help of skeletal muscle. And at last, regarding the outermost layer, that is serosa or fibrous layer. So this serosa is made of connective tissue and mesoepithelial cells, and we can see the serosa layer mainly in stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. And this fibrous layer is made of connective tissue, and we can see that in pharynx and esophagus. And this is all regarding the walls of GIT. So if you have any suggestion regarding the topics to be discussed, just comment below. And if you have any suggestions regarding the previous videos or now present video, you can comment below your suggestions. And thank you so much. Happy learning all.